They are survivors. They want you to know, if you don't already, that statistics are against them for all kinds of reasons. But they have survived and they have thrived after facing challenges and heartache, and they are still deeply connected. They have a dog named Roxy that they care for in all kinds of weather. Gail reminds us that she came into this relationship with Bill very, very wounded, and he created a beautiful, safe place for her. They believe that where great love is, there are always miracles. For one anniversary years ago, Bill promised that he would bring Gail flowers every week, which is a big deal since his memory is not very good. And Gail reports that he actually did every week for a whole year bring her fresh flowers. They provide respect for each other, and they believe that that's the core of their relationship. They don't fight, they don't yell, they don't scream or call each other bad names. They don't even feel like forgiveness is a part of their relationship, because it's just about accepting each other, and that there's no room to need forgiveness because you just accept that things will not be perfect, that the other isn't perfect, that you yourself are not perfect. Bill says that Gail really helps him cope with medical stuff, and there are lots of medical things. And so he knows that he wouldn't be able to go through those things, including the most recent ones, without Gail giving him the support and care that she always does. They believe they're soul friends to each other. They also have another son, Mark, and his wife, Maria, and their 4 kids, who are now reunited again after some distance over a border and trying to get back in this country. They celebrate the gift of Mark and Maria and the 4 children. They like to do things for each other, to surprise each other, just because it bubbles up in them to do that, because that is what love does. A favorite movie of theirs is Same Time Next Year. They give thanks that God always provides one of them with the strength to carry on the family when the other is at a very weak point. That they have marveled throughout their relationships at the time when they seemed like none of them had the strength to go on, but suddenly one of them was able to pull themselves together, and in so doing pull the family together and pull them into the future. They each had a great-grandfather who was a preacher. They love music and trivia and vocabulary. When their son Mark was 5 years old is when they were married 30 years ago. And years later, Bill adopted him. It wasn't a quick process, but they were together through that and celebrated. If Mark, now 5 years before they got married, so before they met, if Mark had been born a girl, his name would have been Catherine Ann. That was the name that Gail picked out, and that, in fact, is Bill's mother's name. 1978 was the year that they were married. Cell phones were new that year, a little experiment. Space Invaders launched a craze of computer games. You might remember Jim Jones and Guyana and some Punch. Susan B. Anthony coins were first minted. Sweden stopped allowing people to use aerosol spray cans in 1978. Camp David Peace Treaty happened so that Egypt makes peace with Israel. Greece, Saturday Night Live, Close Encounters of the Third Time, Animal House, Heaven Can Wait, The Deer Hunter, Rockford Files, Wheel of Fortune, Quincy, The Muppet Show, Charlie's Angels, Chips, The Love Boat, Three's Company. Anybody remember? 30 years ago. They've decided that every day they choose to love and respect each other, that every day it's a choice that they make to care for and respect each other. Both Bill and Gail had grandmothers with college degrees, which was not a common thing. One was a psychiatric social worker, and one taught English as a second language to Chinese and Japanese immigrants in San Francisco. They come to this place with you today, having been through a great deal, knowing that they are present to each other in ways that no one can truly understand. They really grasp the idea of compromise and of covenant and of being for the other, love and grace and peace and hope and healing. One day they attended, actually 2 days, they attended a 2-day college football game. Because of weather delays, it went over midnight into the next next day, another claim to fame that they have. Bill once worked mightily on a desk, a roll-top desk for Gail. The door was locked into Mark's room, and all she could hear was the buzz and whiz of saws and the hammers and the nails, and she was forbidden to go in there, but eventually received that gift, a beautiful piece of furniture that they still have with them. They find it important and check in with each other every day. There was a time that they went to McDonald's every morning just for 10 minutes to have coffee together, to start out the day together as they went on their separate ways. Today for them is another opportunity to check in with each other, to remember where they have been, to dream about where they're going to go together, and to be firmly rooted in this present moment. And so again, they give you thanks for being present, for being the context within which they have this relationship, for being their family, for bringing your gifts and your wisdom and your peace. They hope that you have gotten to know them a little bit more, and that you will be inspired to be more present and more faithful and more deeply in love with those